Well, Happy New Year, everybody. Rod Mater Thrower. I'm back here again. Thought I would kind of do a video here. Something I get asked often is my opinion on, I just got my gun license. I want to get into deer hunting or coyote hunting or target shooting or whatnot. I don't have a pile of money to spend. What do you recommend? I want to buy a bolt action rifle. Well, there's several options. Number one, budget is everything. It depends what your budget is. Really now, budget rifles aren't really budget with the cost of everything. Like a few years back, you could get a Savage Axis for like $400 with a scope and go hunting. That's just not obtainable now unless you get a big sale or something. So in this video here, I hope to address that and show you a couple of options that, I looked into, and we'll go from there. So basically, I just took a couple of guns out of my collection here and kind of going from anything from a gun I built to a budget line rifle to a purchase used rifle to a higher end rifle, and to give you an idea of where you see the money going, where the market's going, and where where is it smart or where is it right. I guess it boils down to the person, but hopefully I can shed some light on it for people. I've been asked this by several people, and I just give my opinions, but here's my video opinion. And here are the subjects of today's video. Right here, we have some rifles from my collection. You'll notice that most of these, they're all hunting rifles. There's no target match quality rifles here. I mean, there is some nice rifles, but they're all go to the woods rifles. They do shoot very well. If a rifle doesn't shoot well, I don't invest time or money into it. So we're going to start. People will ask me, well, what do you use to hunt deer? Well, years ago, I got in my head that I wanted a Mauser 98 Sporter. So I went to a gun show and I bought this one. It was a worn out 8mm. There was no rifling left in it. I basically bought it for the action and said parts. So I went to a gunsmith friend of mine. I asked him, I said, well, I just bought this. And I said, what's it going to cost me to transform this into something that's shootable and usable? He just kind of grinned and laughed. He said, that's a loaded question. And there's a lot of variables, and that'll determine how much you're going to spend. So what we have here was a German 98K Mauser. It's actually still got the German Eagles on. It's a shame that the rifle was in such poor condition otherwise, because I would have liked to keep it the way it was. But it was a perfectly good action to donate to the cause, so that's what I did. So what we have here, 98K Mauser, previously 8mm, now chambered 30-06 Springfield. That's a brand new barrel, and I'll get to that. So what did I do to this rifle to make it what it is, and what did it cost me? So, mind you now, these things were done like 15 years ago. I've had this rifle a long time. And this was the last rifle that my gunsmith friend had built before he passed away with cancer, so this got a lot of sentimental meaning. And I'm not going to complete the project anymore. I'm leaving it as it is, as a memory of him. The gun shoots perfectly fine the way it is. Love taking it to the woods. So let's start. The first thing I did was the safety. Everybody knows the Mausers have the big long tang safety. It flips then straight up like this, and it has to flip over to the other side to engage safe. With this in the way, that doesn't happen. So Timney and some other companies make a low swing safety, so when you flick this up, it comes to about here, and it flips up and down as such. So low swing safety installed. That was $80 back then. That was just for the safety. Not counting to get it put in, because there is some machining work and fitting it has to be done for sear engagement. So let's say that would have cost me $125 altogether. Mausers traditionally have straight bolt handles. This one had a sort of lopped handle, but it wasn't bent correctly enough to clear a scope. So the gunsmith had to alter my bolt handle, reshape it, and here's what we have. That was probably around $50 to put it in the bending blocks. Now we have a bent bolt handle, so that's done. So remember, 125. Let's say $100. Let's say $100 altogether for this year. So now you have to machine the rear receiver to accept the Weaver base to get them flat so they sit level with this one. So grinding the receiver, polishing the surface, touching up the bluing, drilling 2 holes, and then drilling 2 holes here. That was about $125 as well. And you buy a set of scope rings. These were $40, so $40, $125, $200 between this. Now, I didn't have to replace the stock, but I did. So this is just a ram line. Everybody sees these. They're not a fancy stock, but they're very durable, very rugged. They feel good in the hands. And I paid, I believe, at the time, $99 plus tax for it. So let's say $115, $120. Then I have the scope here. That was donated from another rifle. But here's the expensive part, was this barrel. This is a brand new McGowan 26-inch barrel, number 2 weight, I guess it was called. It was a 30 caliber blank, so I could have chose to put it in whatever 30 caliber round I wanted. I could have fit into this action. 98s are strong as heck. So I chose 30-06, being the ammo was pretty easy to get, and you know, reloading components are common, and it'll knock anything down you need it to. So this rifle, the way it sits right here, is still not all complete. It's not been blued or not been anything. So to take money, dump it into a rifle like this, I think when I bought the rifle itself to start, it was $200. It was a full issued rifle. I sold some wood pieces off of it. I kind of recouped a bit of money and dumped it back in the rifle. So as this rifle sits 15 years ago, this ran me about $1,000 the way it sits. Not very cost effective, but you do have a dandy hunting rifle. So now we move on to my next one. Now I bought this rifle as such. Now somebody would have had to have done the work all done to mine here to do this. But I bought this one as it is. And I paid $500 for this rifle. It's a 6.5 Swedish Mauser. It's been sported, drilled and tapped. Low swing safety, as I showed you on the other rifle, bolt handle altered. And it's got a synthetic stock, branded by Chote, or Choti, whatever you like to pronounce it. They omitted the floor dump, or the floor magazine, the belly dump, or whatever you call it. So it's an internal mag. And they've had the receiver ground, milled, drilled and tapped, new rings. And that's the original barrel on this gun. It's got a good bore, so it's a nice shooter. And they had to cut it shorter and recrown it. So $500, you can go on the used market and buy a Milsurp, like in a common caliber. 6.5 is pretty common here in Canada. You can find the ammo. Nice shooting gun, great deer rifle. You can hand load it for varminting. It's kind of versatile, very mild recoil, nice shooting, accurate. You know, so that's another viable option for people to look into on the used market, is something like this, something the work's already been done. So versus what I had to spend to make that one. And of course this is a 96 action. It's not as strong as 98, but it's plenty fine for deer hunting, and you know, it'll last a good long time. Very little ever goes wrong with them. So now we get into what I call budget guns. And even now, budget guns aren't really budget guns per se, because the prices changed and everything so much. Now, I just recently acquired this. I haven't fired it yet. It's a Savage Axis. Everybody's going to know what they are. It's Savage's budget rifle, entry-level rifle. This is an Axis 2 compact. This is like a smaller statured stock, shorter barrel. This one's chambered in .223 Remington. Can't hunt deer with it here, but I can hunt coyotes and shoot at the range and whatnot. So I figured it'd be something to have a little different to the collection, being I don't have a varminting rifle since a long time. But these guns here, when you go out and buy them, I mean, they are what they are. They're budget. Plastic everything, as you can see, even the trigger guard. And the magazine latch here, you'll see right there. It's kind of a cheesy little plastic pushback knob. I'm not too fussy for that, but you know, you are getting a budget gun. So other than that, the action is really smooth. It's got a factory mounted 3-9 power Weaver Caspa scope. So short barrel on this one, 20 inches, carbon steel barrel. It's got the button rifling. You know, the stock's not terrible. It's got a little handhold there. And that's what a budget rifle is nowadays. Now, this gun here is going to run you anywhere. So it depends where you buy it, because you get sales. Let's say from $500 up to $700, depending on where you buy it. Some of them are available with a Vortex scope on there, and they're a little bit more money, but it's the same rifle. And they're available in a wide variety of calibers, like 223, 22-250, 243, some Deere cartridges, 6.5 Creedmoor, 7mm 08, 308, and 30-06, 270. I mean, there's quite a few good cartridges there, so if somebody wants to get a rifle that's, you know, entry-level, budget-reminded, but still an accurate shooter, and, you know, this is probably the ticket for you. So now, Savage also has the 110 series of rifles, and I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see this here. I just had that there to lift up the gun. Now, this one varies because it has Savage's AccuTrigger. This is a full-size model 111. This is chambered 30-06, and it's got a steel magazine latch and a steel magazine versus plastic, a steel trigger guard versus plastic. Savage is known for the smooth operating action, thumb safety, and I just got my old scope on here, my Mueller. It's been old faithful for me. But to buy something like this, you can still buy the 110 series guns, and they call it a budget rifle. This is a full size, not a youth. You're looking at $700, and it's just a Savage 111. But it's got the AccuTrigger. That's a big plus for better shooting, I find. And a more durable magazine latch and a more durable magazine. So it's the upscale. It's like the big brother to this one. So in all reality, you're going to pay about between $750 for the bare rifle, upwards of $900, and then you got taxes and stuff on there. So by the time you scope that rifle, you're handy to $1,000. So it's not really a budget rifle anymore. It's like a higher end budget rifle, I guess you'd call it. So then we get to something like this here. This is my vintage Winchester Model 70 XTR chambered in 300 Winchester Magnum. Now this one was built in 1984. I mean, they don't build them like this anymore. The fit, finish, and quality of this is par none compared to what they make now. It's got the belly dump mag, button release right there. Recoil lug in the stock. Very smooth action. Winchester's famous wing safety. Got a Redfield, excuse me here. One-piece Redfield base and a Bushnell Banner scope. Nice checkered walnut stock, blue barrel. Got the sights on there. Now I do have the rear sight that goes on this gun. I had to remove it because the scope would have hit it. But let's get back to looking at these. So what you have here is you've got a rifle here. If you had to buy this new right now just for the bare rifle, you're probably looking at $1,200 to $1,400 bare bones, not putting a scope or nothing on it. This rifle is going to run you about close to $1,000 the way it's set up. This budget-minded rifle is going to run you about $700 the way it's set up with your taxes. And then if you go down below here on the used market, this is the two Mauser choices I had. I built this one. This cost me over $1,000. And then I bought this one for $500. Now minus that scope, because this scope was actually on that rifle. So I got that Tasco scope with it. So yes, you could have went deer hunting with it the way it was. Now, what is my advice to somebody when it comes to buying these, or a first rifle? Well, I don't denounce anybody wanting to buy an expensive rifle, but what I do recommend is somebody gets an affordable rifle that they can shoot often, get good at shooting, you know, practice your groups, get confident in your shooting, and then you can upscale. So you could start with an Axis, then you could move up to an AccuTrigger model and get the 111. Then you could get a Winchester Model 70. And, you know, that's my advice, is that the market is such a broad thing right now, but what's killing in the market is values and what things sell for. Like, for example, you could have bought one of these at a gun show 10 years ago for, let's say, $350 with a scope on it. Same thing with this. An Axis new was about $350. These new 10 years ago were probably about $500 with a scope. And my friend bought this in 1984. He paid $800 for it back then. And that's, you know, some years ago. So I guess if I was a betting person and I wanted to get into hunting and I wanted something fresh, clean, and new to get into hunting with, I'd recommend one of those in a deer hunting caliber, whatever caliber your hunting needs are going to require. You know, if you want to kind of do your own build, well, you could end up with something like that. You know, classic Mauser rifle. If you don't want to build your own and you don't want to spend a ton of money, but you want something that shoots nice and reliably, you can't beat a Swede Mauser. And if you want a do-it-all gun, you want to hunt moose, you want to hunt deer, you want to hunt bears and target shoot, and you're budget-minded, you get into one of those. And then if you have a little deeper pocket and you just want to strictly hunt big game, well, you got the Magnum. But I mean, you can still hunt deer with it, but I just think it's overkill. So that's another thing you want to consider also is ammo availability. Some of these oddball calibers are hard to get now, like 7mm 08 or 25-06 and stuff like that. Some of these guns were chambered in and available. So you want to bear that in mind. So just thought I would show you what I have. Give a person an idea of where the market's at. And what you can look to pay for said guns in today's markets or whatnot. So I hope that everybody's having a good day. I'm going to try and upload this at my buddy's place that's got good internet, because it would take me like 5 years to do it here at the speed we have. Hopefully I can do a few more videos in the future, and we'll see you in the next one. And any questions, comment below. Like and subscribe, folks. You know the routine. See you later.